Here we go. Back to the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. Oh, the joys of technical difficulties. Here with Aprille Trupiano, business coach extraordinaire and an expert really in Tantric Entrepreneurialism. So, Aprille, we were getting into kind of your background and how many businesses that you had started and successfully pushed forward and how you became a coach. So, we will salvage what we have, from the rest of that. But you were, Colleen, about to tell Aprille kind of how you got started and with the podcast and everything.
Well, I haven't quite had as many business. Mine would be one.
But it's a good one.
It was a family business. So I had the world's easiest interview when you turn around and go, "Can I have a job?" So that was handy. But it has been, and there's been ups and downs. But for the most part, I think, when I was reading through some of this stuff, I saw some things where I'm like, so that's where I'm getting stuck. I mean, not having a business background, it was handy to read through these things and realize some things that I'm doing right and some things that I can improve on in a format that I can understand. And I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that it has tantric on there, because I think everybody sort of gets sex. It sort of gets the verbiage around it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the body language, right?
Yeah. Because I've read other proposals in which I've had to ask people to rewrite in plain language because I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And with contracts, that's important.
Yeah. I mean, there was there were the principles here just made a lot of sense to me going through there, and I'm gonna look forward to sort of implementing more of them. When I'm going,
Let's run through some of these. So, Aprille, in the article Pillars, the one that grabbed all of our attention before we started researching you and your work more, number one, kind of give us some background on, in Tantric Entrepreneurialism, what does it mean to honor what's sacred?
Well, I'll back up because I don't think everybody even realizes what tantric sex is all about. And maybe, you guys are the experts more so than me. But I know we think about it, but we're not really clear about the, like the how-to. It just sounds like, this hour-long orgasm and everybody's in.
I just picture Sting.
Me too.
Always. Yeah.
I know. But the truth of the matter is, it's more about holding on to that connection.
Yeah, it's about forming a connection, right?
For a really long time.
Yeah.
Right? And, you guys jump in and correct me if I'm, off a little bit here, but that's my understanding of it, right? That's what I...
Yeah, it's like maintaining eye contact, and body connection. Yeah, there's not a lot of moving. It's just like you're trying to get into each other's souls, probably,
Exactly.
And that's where your mind-blowing orgasms come from, because it's... it's like the relationship is orgasming too, Yeah.
Yes. And that's why you have to start with the basic of honoring what's sacred. So when you reference tantric sex, honoring what's sacred is about having a very sacred space, a very intimate space, and knowing what is really important to the both of you and knowing sort of where your boundaries are. And so when I talk about honoring what's sacred in your business, it's the same principle. It's knowing where the sacred parts of your business are. So we each have a set of values that we bring to our business, and we make business decisions based on those values. We make, every kind of decision from personnel to marketing, to product line, to service offerings, all of it based on our values. And honestly, people don't spend enough time thinking about it. And what happens is when you're not clear about it, when you start feeling that misalignment in your business, or business decisions are hard to make, I believe it's because you're not aligned with your values. You're not being present to those values, and you're not holding your own sacred space for what matters the most. For example, if you value family like I do above all else, then you may be working 12-hour days and really feeling resentful. And not knowing why you feel resentful, because if you think about it on the surface level, you love your business, you're dedicated to your business, you know that your business brings in the money for sustaining your family and your lifestyle, but you're still feeling resentful and you don't know why. You've crossed a boundary there. You've crossed the boundary over your sacred values. And a lot of times people just aren't aware of what those are, or they ignore them. It's also things like honoring your time. People don't realize their time is sacred. And when you waste that time, or you allow other people to waste that time with meetings that are ineffective, inefficient, and unproductive, with people who interrupt your day all day long, whether it's a client, a vendor, an employee, whatever it is. When you're allowing those interruptions on your time and you're not honoring what's important so that you get things done, so that your business runs smoothly and efficiently and profitably, then you're stepping on those boundaries.
Yeah,
it's things like that.
Yeah, I desperately try to have as few meetings as possible, but we do have to get together about twice a week. And I'm just like, okay, we have now devolved into what everyone did over the weekend, so we can now finich the meeting.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what we hold sacred. Like, so how was your weekend? Any new recipes?
But no, we do make those decisions, and I can say that when it comes to what we're going to carry. Because we look at some stuff sometimes, and it just sort of wigs us out when we see what we think looks like a children's toy that vibrates, and we find it creepy. And I realize, that's our decision. This is not going to happen in our stores.
Aprille, trust me on this. Their headquarters is a trip and a half to visit. We've done shows from there in the past, and we will occasionally too. But I am serious. Colleen's mom. How old's your mom?
74.
74. When I first met her, my first trip to the Fantasy Gifts headquarters, she's in this cute little room, and she's inventorying the porn DVDs. And she's like, "Hi, honey, nice to meet you." And she's the cutest, little 70-something you'd ever want to meet. The place is hilarious, and everybody has, such a good time. But I think by and large, we all can laugh about meetings all day long and what a pain they can be and whatnot. But it's an above average, good juju workplace, I think. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, and that's really important. Look, if it's a high value to have close relationships and to have intimacy among your coworkers, then you're doing it exactly the way you should be doing it.
Yeah. Well, a couple of them are married, so that's it's very intimate relationships.
Yeah. So do you
be careful with my words, because what I call intimate in a business setting is
We're gonna turn everything dirty. Sorry.
Do you recommend businesses to have mission statements and stuff?
I actually recommend a vision statement versus a mission statement.
Okay.
I find that mission statements are cold and dry, and they tend to be about how many widgets we want to put out in the world and how great we want to be, versus a vision statement.
That makes sense.
A vision statement really is based on the foundation of your values, as well as how you want to serve your clients, how you want to serve the world. And you guys are serving a vision. Your family, this is a family business that's been going on for generations. There's a vision being fulfilled here. And I'll tell you what, when other people can relate to your vision, they will be loyal followers, they will be brand champions, and they will come back again and again, and they'll send everybody else they know.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't admit I don't have a lot of stuff written down, but I think we've attempted to sort of, stay in the same path.
I think your dad did, though. He might not have written it down, but I think he had a vision.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
and he definitely instilled that in you, and so that's been the way it's. There is definitely this is what we.
Yeah, to market towards fun and sensuality versus and to market to everyone, not not to be a niche, not just be the gay store, the lesbian store, or the heterosexual store.
Or just have it be about orgasm and how fast you can do it.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good goal. So the second pillar in Aprille's article is breathe. How did you translate business into that one? I got to know.
Because if you think about it, breathing is something we just do naturally, and we don't think about it. I don't know about you guys, but there have been times, for example, when I've been really stressed, and I realize I have to stop and think. I realize while I'm working on a really big project or a big proposal, I'm like holding my breath. I'm holding my breath and in concentration or in a little bit of anxiety around, is this the right thing or is that the right thing? And sometimes we just most times we don't even think about breathing. It's just natural. However, when you stop and notice your breathing in tantric sex, being conscious of each other and each other's breathing, now you're starting to notice each other's rhythm. You're present to each other. You're present to the fact that other person is there. You're present to what it is that, how you love them. You're present to what it is that makes them beautiful to you. And so it's noticing that breathing And when you think about your business, it's the same sort of thing, because I always say how you do anything is how you do everything. And one of my mentors taught me that. And a lot of times we can get into that rhythm of this is the way we do it, this is the way we do it, it's the way we've always done it, and I'm going to work and I'm just going to do what I need to do. And we just end up with checklists all day long. And there's never really any plan about it. That's a big deal for me. I'm always about having a plan, having action steps to go along with it, having milestones, deadlines. And I get that every plan gets wonky sometimes and you have to go sideways and you have to zig or zag. But if you don't have down, some sort of structure for where you're headed, you're going to end up everywhere or nowhere. And neither one of those places leads to profitability or fulfillment of your vision. It just leads to a job where you're just doing every day. If you think about, does anybody remember, I'm dating myself here, but does anybody remember the commercial with Dunkin' Donuts and the guy's like,
oh, gotta make the dough. I love that one.
Well, wait, lay it out, because it's not jogging my memory. What happens in the commercial again?
So the guy's like half asleep and he falls out of bed and his wife's like, where are you going? And it's pitch black and he's like, I gotta get up and make the donuts. I gotta get up and make the donuts.
He's on autopilot.
Right? Yeah, he's on autopilot. And so unless we step back and notice, how are we doing things? Are we doing things very efficiently? Could we be doing them better? Is there software or technology we could be using to do it more, streamline it better? Are we using our people, our team, most effectively? Do we maybe need to balance out what people are doing and how we're using their talent? Thinking about where are we on the plan? Sometimes we also need to take time just to look at where we are and are we heading where we said we wanted to go? And if not, how do we tweak it? How do we make sure we're, getting back on track? It's pacing yourself too. So
that's really
being
cool.
pleasant.
I'm dying to know how your third pillar, very position. I can't wait to hear this.
Well, this is the most fun one. I got to tell you. So, the way this article came about, I hinted at it. With my mastermind partner, we were talking about this, and I got to say, I think his face got red, even though he's a very contemporary, modern guy, young guy, but he got a little red. He's like, okay, wait, now you got to tell me this one. How do you make that one work? And I said, it's the same thing about being stuck in a rut, right? If you want to explore different levels of pleasure with your sexual partner, your intimate partner, you're going to try things out, right? Don't you guys tell people to test things out? Isn't that the whole premise of your business, right? Is to
definitely to try new things.
Yeah,
that's why we exist.
Here more than any place.
Yeah. Exploring different levels of pleasure, and I say, why not do that in your business? Doing everything the same way leaves very little room for exploration. It puts you in that rut, and again, you're back to that sort of rote activity in your business. And it doesn't stimulate the mind. It doesn't stimulate creativity. It doesn't stimulate anything other than the to-do list. So I tell people, you got to have a really clear understanding of your business and where you can take some risks. As entrepreneurs, I think one of the most exciting things we do is we just jump off that cliff. I call it the entrepreneurial dive. Colleen, I would imagine there have been times in the business where somebody will bring an idea to you and you go, man, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if our customer will like it, but hell yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Let's put it out there.
Yeah, we've tried a few things. They, some succeed, some have failed, but you don't know until, you go ahead, go ahead.
Exactly.
And, a lot of, and then, or we'll try, not every store we've opened has worked out. And right. Sometimes the landlords have been crazier than the city, and so it hasn't been worth being open. I don't care about getting arrested. I've been that, done that. Could win, but sometimes, like I said, if the landlord's crazier than the city, you just have to, figure out what's going on. But yeah, there's plenty of risks, and not all of them work.
Calculated risks. Right? Mm-hmm. You just said, you got to kind of know your environment. You got to know where your risk tolerance is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, it cracks me up, Aprille, and Colleen will, any one of these fine ladies at the table will talk about this, but it does amuse me that there's 9 stores around the Twin Cities, and they've got a couple more in New Jersey that another branch of the family runs out there. But it cracks me up how you guys pinpoint like proclivities, if you will, from like what sells in Fridley doesn't necessarily sell in Burnsville. And it's like, oh, they like butt plugs in Fridley. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we,
sure.
I mean, we've learned, like I said, said, we'll take the risk, like, okay, here's a new line, but we're only going to put it in a couple of stores. We're going to test
Which
it out
stores
soon.
would sell it?
Which stores would sell it, or we're going to, and there's been, and there's also just been, times when we've had to make things, go away. You have a bad relationship with a company, or they, you're just not working well, or they've changed a product, and I have to admit, sometimes I made a mistake a few years ago by not changing websites fast enough, but I kept hoping and hoping and hoping that it was going to get fixed. And it just never did, because I'm just thinking, I've sunk so much time into something so far. Not everything works out.
Well,
but we finally did. We switched.
I would say this podcast is quite a new, varied position for us as a company as well.
Yeah.
To go out and just be so. Not that I haven't been public. Using my name in radio commercials or TV commercials and stuff like that. But to go out there and say, hi, this is Colleen and I sell dildos.
Yeah. And I love that about you. I love it that you go there. So, which brings us to number 4, Colleen. I love it. Nice segue. Make sound.
Oh, that's not hard for Bertinos, let me tell you. We are not a quiet bunch.
So, Aprille, talk about that one.
I hear that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, tell us about Make Sound.
Well, I love to hear that you're talking about your business. When you're doing something that you love, that serves the people that you are working with, your clients and customers, and that you're doing good in the world, and I don't care if you're selling, fantasy sex items or if you're selling insurance. Very different realms of the sides of the spectrum. However, if what you're, like I said, what you're doing is bringing goods to the world, you want to let everybody know. You want to create buzz, make sound. In Tantric Sex, you are making sound. It's just, a lot of people, you guys have to say the truth. Well, you don't have to, but I'm sure you will. But you've probably had at least one partner in your life that was like really, really quiet. And you're like, are you there? I'm working for you.
Wake up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because you're in pain or you're asleep or what. Quiet. And when you read about it, if you do any reading about tantric sex, they'll say, don't let the thoughts in your head about how you're going to sound or how you're going to be perceived by, just like let them know that you're enjoying them, let them know that you're enjoying the experience, and let them know that you're with them, that you haven't fallen asleep on them. It's the same thing with your clients, your customers, your vendors, your employees. I tell people, look, you gotta talk about what you're doing and get them engaged. Create open dialogue with your prospects, your clients. That's what social media is all about. That's what podcasting is all about. I did I did television for 2 years, and that's one thing. But doing radio, terrestrial radio with live streaming attached, and I loved my call-ins. I loved when I had people on that, sometimes we would do this thing. It was a rant. And, you want to hear what works for people, what doesn't work for people, what makes them upset, what makes them happy. Yep. Creating that open dialogue and letting them know that you're listening. Because here's where the opportunity for you as a business owner comes in. The opportunity comes in when you're hearing that, and you can now, tweak your product lines, tweak your service offerings, tweak how you do things, how you answer their customer service requests. All of that, all your systems and processes can be tweaked so that they know that you are focused on them, eye to eye.
Yeah, this is something that
we talk about.
Yeah, I was saying this is something that has really changed for us, because years ago someone would just grab something, put it on the counter, and want to pay for it and get the hell out. And now there's a lot more dialogue, a lot more information, interaction. And so I have to admit, it has been a challenge for me, being slightly older, to change my mindset. And I'm really glad that I have my staff that can help me with this.
Right.
Yeah, so that so that I'm paying more attention.
One of the other ways I talk about making sound is with your team, right? Celebrate, acknowledge, reward great clients, great employees, thank people, and do it publicly so that people know that you appreciate them. Because a lot of times those are the people we just forget to, we think that annual raise is enough, or we think that, private pat on the back is enough. And you just want to let people know, hey, I see you, I know you're here, and I really am grateful that you're here doing what you do best for us.
Yeah, and I've never seen a team of people, honestly, Aprille, that has as much knowledge, and they are so, very good at talking with people and handling questions. I mean, and this goes for every single one. The part of their team rotates through every week, so we have different characters in here with Colleen and me every week. But they have people come up and confide that they're having they're in the middle of being treated for cancer, but they want something, and these guys will sit there and spend the time with them. It's really quite, it's kind of touching in its way. I know that sounds funny because we're talking about sex toys, but people really get that vibe from these people, and they are really good at.
You get intimate really quick with somebody when you're talking about their intimate issues.
Yeah, you do. So,
listen, if you talk to someone who has either gone through menopause or prostate difficulties, or just an illness like cancer or anything that has really hampered or dampened their. I just made up a new word.
I liked it.
There you go. Has really hampered their sexual energy and their sexual drive, and you can speak to that. You're not only feeding that sexual, satisfaction, but you're feeding their whole energy. You're bringing them back to life. Watch someone who is not sexually active versus someone who is. I don't care what anybody says.
Or get that back for them.
If you read Think and Grow Rich, sexual energy is one of the most powerful motivators and energizers of human beings. And if that part dies off or is neglected, if pleasure is neglected, whether it's the way you guys serve pleasure or the way I serve pleasure, then, there's just there's a loss of enthusiasm. And quite frankly, that loss of enthusiasm translates into a loss of profitability.
Yeah.
Oh, true. So the last of the 5 pillars in this fabulous article, Aprille Trupiano, business coach extraordinaire and author of the ebook, Tantric Entrepreneurialism, which you can get at aprilletrupiano.com. We will post a link, by the way, on our show Facebook page and links to promote you. But the last one.
Yeah, the paying attention. Well, you guys seem to be doing a really good job of this. It's being present to what your customers need and what they want. It's really listening to, do you prefer a home party where you can actually touch it and feel it and get a really close-up look at it and see if it's what you want to, what you want to take home? Or do you want to do it online where it's very discreet? You want the brown box? Or do you want to come into the stores that we have all over the place where you can come in and ask your question face-to-face? It's letting them know you're listening. It's also responding to their response and saying, okay, we notice that, 70% of our clients, our customers want to purchase online. 50% of our customers want to talk to us via Facebook versus LinkedIn. It's knowing where your people are, how they buy, why they send people to you, why they stay with you. And, I also talk about maintaining direct eye contact, which is all of this is a big part in tantric sex. It's actually a big part in any kind of intimate sex, right? Noticing what pleases them, engaging them. You always want to leave them wanting more, don't you? As a business owner, it's no different than in sex, right?
Yeah.
So staying in front of them, letting them know that you're always thinking about them, that you're always wanting to make sure that you are increasing their pleasure and their happiness factor with you and the company and what you bring to them.
And when you're talking with someone, like that, you're making them happy. But one of the things that I get a lot, when you get this close to someone or people, they think they know a lot more about you than they do because the intimacy gets really close. And so we get a lot of assumptions made about us personally. And I was wondering, did anything change with you when you decided to write things up like that? Did people start making assumptions about your personal life after you wrote, you came out with these, concepts in this form?
I'll tell you that so far no one's made a big deal out of it. And I'll tell you that most of my clients are in much more conservative businesses, obviously, than yours. I deal with people in the service industry. I deal a lot with mortgage bankers and insurance agents and financial advisors. Okay, so pretty
Yeah.
I don't want to say, stern, but, just kind of
buttoned up.
Yes, exactly. However, look, people are people, and two things I'll tell you. One is that my clients know how I am. They know who I am and how I am. They actually are very clear in what I value in life.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they know about me is I'm very passionate. They've come to learn that I'm quirky, I'm outspoken, passionate. I talk with my hands. And, when I get passionate, they can expect anything from me in order to get my point across. So I don't think it would shock anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has, they haven't told me. I'll just leave it at that.
No, that's good because a lot of folks, assume. I remember even years ago, my mom was on a local TV program, and they said, "You look like a kindergarten teacher." And my mom's answer was, "Well, what am I supposed to look like?"
Yeah.
And I realized I'm about the same age she was then, which is now just sort of messing with my head.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So
the other thing is, I think in life, one of the things that I've learned from the time I was young is that people will always have assumptions about you. People will always presume to know you and who you are and what you're about. I got to tell you guys, I've heard stories about me that were so ludicrous, and I thought, I don't even know that person. How are they talking about me? And I've learned to really live inside the belief that what people think of me is a lot less important than what I think of me, and how people that I work with and people that I cherish, how they know me. That's more important to me. And it took me a long, long time. If you would have searched for me even, 3-4 years ago, you would have hardly ever found me online. So I was one of those very, very private people. Don't take my picture. Don't write about me. I'm not going to be out there because I'm a private person. And what I realized is that people want to know who you are. They really want to know you. And it took a lot for me to take that on. But once I did, I said, okay, this is it. I'm going all out. If you really want to know who I am, I'm going to take a risk here. The people who appreciate and relate to who I am will be the ones who come to work with me. And the people who don't will be the ones who don't come to work with me. And I'm okay with that because they'll probably be those clients that it's a drag for me to work with anyway.
Yeah, the ones you want to fire.
I have found that out because, just amazingly awful things have been said in the past about my business, about my family and stuff like that. And it just a long time ago, that doesn't count. My dad always said that the best revenge was just having the store open. I did learn a lot from him, but it is fascinating. And now that I've got a daughter, I sort of have to say you might run across some things. Yeah, she's getting older. Yeah. But for the most part, I'm hoping that as the 2015 and stuff goes on, that she can that it's not as scary or as to folks going forward.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, so Aprille, one of the things that I thought was really fascinating, and once again, to our audience, we will post all of Aprille's information because her name is really long and hard to remember, and you need to see it kind of and click. But when you download her ebook on Tantric Entrepreneurialism, which is really a great fresh take on business, I thought, and so did Colleen, obviously. But I was trying to find you to come do this interview with us because we couldn't wait to talk to you. And it kind of put me through this very cool little app that set me up for a free coaching session. And I did that with you. And it was fabulous. You guys can get her energy, right? Okay. You can see what she's like. And when she drives and she's like, all right, we're going to go down here. And she figured out stuff about me in 15 to 20 minutes and gave me, she nailed me. I'm just going to tell you right now. She found all of she called me completely out on all sorts of stuff. And I think I'm going to move forward and do some more coaching. But if anybody has ever thought about life and or business coaching, I can tell you right now, this woman, you gotta call and get the book and check out Aprille Trupiano because you are so good at what you do.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love what I do. I think that it's, we're often out there creating this facade of professionalism and having all of our stuff together. And, you first of all have to have that you got to have that intimate space to be able to really work with someone. That's hence the first step, right? Honoring what's sacred and really honoring people when they come to you. I find that in my line of work, I have to create a safe space for people to be able to just say it like it is, and still people are nervous with me. It might take even my clients, sometimes it'll take them a couple of months of me sitting there and really calling BS. And a lot of my work is done on the phone, some of it's done in person, and whether you're on the phone with me on a Skype call where I'm looking at you or in person, I can call BS in a heartbeat, and I'll look at him and say, okay, all right, well, that's the answer you might give the Post-Dispatch on a news interview, but I need to know the truth. Because you're lying, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to me, and I can't help you if you don't stop that, And so they, like I said, they get to know me enough to be able to tell me what's really going on, and also to trust that even when they're afraid to and they're sugarcoating it, that I'm going to get to the bottom of it anyway. And
well, if you have that connection with them, you'll be able to see that lie, because people, but if you don't have that connection, then it's harder. For sure.
Right. I'm sure Colleen can relate to that, because, if people don't have some sort of trust when they see you, even if they don't know you, there must be something about your energy that people know they can trust you, and they can ask you their questions and talk about things that they wouldn't even talk to their closest friends about, right?
I get a lot of intimate questions from folks, and sometimes it's not even about intimate questions, or people will share their other stuff with me. I think mainly because of that, and I'm always honored by it. Yeah. I'm not saying that sometimes it doesn't make me uncomfortable if I'm not if I'm not prepared for it, but I am always honored by the fact that someone's willing to share something that personal or intimate with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
believe me, I'm going to tell you, I deal with people in their business, strictly in business. Mm-hmm. However, as business owners, your business is your life and your life is your business. So the two overlap in so many ways. And when I start getting into what's holding people back, sometimes it has to do with business. Personal. And you'd be surprised. I start hearing about, people's sex lives and partners that, aren't, paying any attention to them, and, just things that they just throw it all at me. So I got to be ready for all of it. You'd be surprised what I hear. And now I'll have you as a reference point to say, okay, well, why don't you maybe go try that?
Yeah, I just send them to fantasygifts.com, and that'll help.
That sounds like my realm of expertise, but I'm happy to send you to Colleen. And when you come back to work with a smile on your face, we can move to the next step.
Well, two things that just about everybody has to do is have sex and work, right? So I think we've covered a lot of really great stuff today. Well, Aprille, I know you've got a really tight schedule, and we'll go ahead and let you get back to changing the world from the business standpoint. And we can't thank you enough for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I had a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you very much.
And
thank you so much, Aprille. I really, really had a fun time today.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right. Have a great week.
Okay, bye. All of her information will be posted on the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast Facebook page and everything else. So, guys, we can't let a day go by without diving into a little bit of something that I found on the internet. Okay. I've been saving this for a week and a half, and okay. So no, we've got the full room here. 21 sex tips that actually work according to science versus Cosmo or the tabloids. So we're going to do a little panel.
Ooh, science. I like science.
And because I shrink everything to stick it on the page, I have to put the granny glasses on to be able to see what the hell I've got. So we're going to start. Yeah, go ahead and laugh, Colleen. Just laugh. There's yours. Okay. You want to read them?
No, only for holding it over there. I can read it just fine without them.
Okay, so we're going to go work our way down from the bottom of the list, number 21. Okay, scientists in the Netherlands found that wearing socks during sex significantly increased the chance of orgasms. Now, what's your immediate first take on that?
I'm doing it right.
Well, it's the Netherlands. It's a little
Netherlands.
cold.
They're chilly. Yeah, I'm sorry. This makes no sense to someone that is a human furnace.
Okay. Well, and my boyfriend. But the reasoning behind it, all kidding aside, because it's like really, I think of the guy with the black socks and the sandals, and it's like, no, not hot. No, but cold is a turnoff for both genders, but the brain scans showed that women in particular needed to feel safe and relaxed, and warm feet helped with that.
Yeah. So it depends. If you're in the wintertime and you live in Minnesota, socks might be a good idea.
Just have socks. Let's go have
It's always
socks.
too much work. You don't want to stop everything to peel off your socks.
Yeah,
I'm lucky I
gotta
get my
socks.
pants down.
Wow.
Well, usually you have to. Well, no, I guess you wouldn't. I mean, it depends.
Depends on what the undergear is like. Okay, according to studies number 20, women find happy guys significantly less sexually attractive than swaggering or brooding men, while men are more attracted to women who smile more.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that tall, dark, and that
handsome.
whole socially crap.
Well, Mad Men
science.
just
It's
started
science.
up again, so a little John Hamm. He's
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah,
That's why
I don't
everyone's
want.
into Twilight and you
Yeah.
know, the brooding, dark, brooding, mysterious. Yeah, it's not worth it for me.
Number 19. If you're looking for a natural sex drive boost, studies have shown that exposure to sunlight can boost your testosterone levels, thus increasing libido and sex drive. And that's because testosterone is boosted by vitamin D. Do we all agree?
Yeah, that's
Plus
that's
tans
a
are hot.
no-brainer.
A no-brainer?
We're just making all sorts of words today.
Yeah, I liked
It's
damper.
like our sales go up as soon as the sun comes out in the spring. You know?
Do they really?
Well, like that first week, people are outside, and
Yeah. Then they get sunburn, and they gotta come on in,
and
get
then
on
they're
the web,
horny.
and then
And then they're horny. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 18, try using your nose on and around. Oh my. Okay. I'm going to have to read this one with a straight face. There's a picture
Why
of
start
Steve
now?
Martin from Roxanne. Try using your nose on and around your lady partner's clitoris after getting her going with the ABCs. Rub and nuzzle your schnoz in and up against her button. The spongy cartilage of the nose is a perfect sex toy.
Yeah, it makes
I
total
totally
sense.
agree. It's like a nice silicone toy, right?
That's why I think Adrian Brody is so hot. He's got like a ski slope you want to slide
nose.
down.
Number 17, get sweaty. I cannot pronounce this word. Androstenediabetes. A component found in sweat improves women's mood and heightens sexual arousal.
Oh, I had a boyfriend once whose sweat just dripped off his face, like right on me, and it was totally gross.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
Colleen?
Thoughts?
Yeah. I like deodorant.
Well, they didn't say
The
smelly.
sweat.
Yeah, they didn't
The sweat. The actual sweat. The dripping. Say it again.
The sweat,
Sweat.
or the smell?
The sweat. and the
Just
smell.
the actual sweat
Yeah,
actual sweat.
the wet, the moisture,
of it.
the moistness.
Ew.
Have you
No,
seen
so-
Matthew McConaughey and Magic Mike? He's sweaty all the time and beautiful.
A study conducted by researchers in, I cannot pronounce this university, found that men with bigger bellies lasted 5 minutes longer than their slimmer counterparts with the tight abs. So they're proposing to ditch the abs for flabs. Thoughts?
I'm still doing it right. This is awesome.
So what's the science? Okay, so is there science behind? I mean, what's the science behind that, or just?
It says the reason for the dramatically higher sexual endurance, more belly fat, scientists say, means a man has more estradiol, a female sex hormone that helps to inhibit orgasm.
But you know, with proper training, you can go around that. So you could still have your abs and have a.
I think you're right. I'm gonna vote with Liz on this one. Number 15.
That just means it's all good. See, I like that's what I take from that. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to propose, the suggestion is not to spend too much money. A study found that marriage duration is inversely related to the amount of money spent on the ring in the ceremony.
I have seen that,
That is
several
so funny.
times.
Do you agree?
Because
I
if-
agree.
Well, it's
If
what
you're-
it's about.
Yeah,
right?
if you're more focused on the day
Yeah.
versus the life,
Yeah.
that
makes
that makes so much sense.
And doesn't it just seem like that has just gotten more and more obnoxious?
I mean,
Yeah.
now
I just
people are
wanted a party.
No, yeah, they're just spending proms now. People are spending like $300 just to ask someone to go to prom.
I know.
And if it starts there, if it's
No, when I was in Vegas at the Trampled by Turtles show, some guy was asking his girlfriend to prom with the band. Like the band said, "Hey, dude, hey, girl, and I was like, really?
Oh,
Like
well,
you're here to get? I mean, they were like, plastered to each other. You needed to ask.
I don't understand how these kids are coming up with these insane amounts of money. It's like that would have been.
Mom and Dad.
I never went, so I have no
I went
idea.
to Edina, so I'm familiar with spending gobs of money on ridiculous things.
Okay. Every day I need attention, right? Number 14, no shave forever. Beards increase men's apparent social status compared to those with a clean-shaven face. Interesting.
Lumbersexuals.
Lumbosexuals. Women.
Well, it certainly works in cold weather countries too. Let me tell you.
Except for I can't deal.
No,
I mean,
they
the dynasty beards. I'm sorry. I just think shit's growing in there.
No. It's got to be groomed. There's grooming. Grooming is important.
I'm sorry.
I will say, since my husband has a styled beard, he actually shaves more
Interesting.
because he likes the look of his particular style. So he has to shave what is not grown out, and he actually does it more often now. So.
Cool. Well, it says here that women rate stubble as more attractive than beards, probably because it displays sexual maturity without the aggression of a full beard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Stubble's not as comfortable though.
Well,
Beards are way better
Softer.
for
Yeah.
scratchy.
Definitely. Okay, so number 13, 2 minutes can change your life. Apparently, both men and women both have pelvic floor muscles, and Kegels can benefit both.
Yep.
So,
It's just more obvious in men because their penis goes up and down.
yeah. And it also says for the older crowd, it can help you with prevention of incontinence, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, and worse. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Much worse.
Okay.
Do your Kegels, ladies. Do them.
Yeah, gentlemen, everyone.
That's Liz's
them.
PSA
What,
for the day.
what is it? 12, 9, 6, 3. So 3 times a day, 6 days a week, 9 reps, 12 seconds, or it's 12 reps, 9 seconds. I don't think it matters which.
Just do it.
But 3 times a day, 6 days a week,
So who's doing their Kegels right now? She's
9 times. 12
Hold on.
seconds.
Wait. I'm done.
No,
But it's a hold. You know, you
Yeah.
got to hold it for 9 seconds and
we
really.
should find a link on that because I remember the first time I heard about Kegels, it was my friend was pregnant with her daughter, and she was describing Kegels in the car, and suddenly as we're driving someplace, everyone's really quiet. We're all like, is everyone doing Kegels now? Early 20s.
But yeah, you just have to remember 3, 6, 9, 12.
3, 6, 9, 12. Number 12 on our list of 21 scientifically proven sex boosters. Go brunette. Check this out. In a 2011 study, brunettes were rated as more physically attractive and intelligent, approachable, and competent than blonde or redheads.
Hey, Meg, you're doing it right again.
Although I don't stay brunette.
You
so
change
often.
it.
Try to
What
go
does
to
it say
red.
about like purple or
Yeah.
blue hair?
Not mentioned.
Man, I'll work on that study.
Yes.
Me and Adrian Brody will do some scientific studies on that one.
Yeah.
Number 11, kissing is shown to improve intimacy in a relationship and lower
sure.
stress and cholesterol.
Cholesterol.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I suppose if you have lower stress, you probably have more of something else, which affects something else. And you
Yeah.
have science again.
Yeah.
Well, I love this. They said they also found that how often couples kissed was correlated to their long-term relationship satisfaction more so than sex. So I thought that was.
I wonder where hand holding is in there.
I would think it would be similar because it
It can be in some ways more intimate than sex.
My hands get really sweaty.
Imagine.
well, sweat's supposed to help too. The next one, number 10, choose your cologne carefully. Studies show that women show a negative reaction when presented with a scent belonging to a relative. Is this the body's way of avoiding incest?
Oh, that's funny.
56% of girls say they won't date a guy who smells like their dad. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So it encourages you to smell like a potential lover and not a brother or weird uncle. Okay.
That's funny.
I was just out in L.A. and it was
Lots of
it was
perfume.
That's so weird, though. I don't.
It was
how does that
horrid.
work with?
Well, that's not a cologne. That's your natural body scent.
I think they're
Right.
talking like so if your dad wears Old Spice,
But what about
you don't
like?
want your boyfriend to wear Old
But I
Spice too.
totally. I'm doing this one wrong, I guess. I mean, and how does that play in with like the idea of like the Oedipus complex,
Well,
where women are attracted to people who remind them of their father, but
Yeah,
not
you want to
in
know
the
what's really
smell?
weird? My
my
This is science. Everyone's looking at me like
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
no, me and my sister's husbands are like brothers. My husband's dad actually mistook my sister's husband for my husband.
wow.
Funny.
Like he walked in the room and said, "Hi, Brad," and my husband was like, "Nope, I'm Nick."
No,
Oh,
no. See, but smell is different than behavior.
Yeah,
See, because
That could be if it's behavior
Yeah.
thing for sure.
Years ago, I dated an identical twin, and his brother was
That
over.
would be interesting.
Well, no, not so much. But I was passing his brother on a stairway, and I didn't look. I saw him in my peripheral.
We're having great language.
I know.
today.
Nobody can speak today. I swear I haven't had a drop. Anyway, I was passing, and I came just so close to reaching out and just grabbing him, and just at the last second, I didn't.
You
and
knew
it was
something.
it was the brother. That talking about awkward because
I wonder if he smelled different and you like just knew.
probably. So do you guys like take charge kind of guys?
At times.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like making decisions.
Well, if you're, I'm a take charge kind of girl. You can only have one.
One of those. Well, if you are trying to ferret out whether or not he might be that kind of guy, Megan, a recent study from France found that men between 18 and 44 who enjoy spicy food have higher testosterone levels. So check out if they like that. So what?
Oh, my current guy's idea of spice is like
Pepper.
Or ketchup, as in Minnesota.
Right.
Like black pepper.
Well, it depends on what their tolerance level is. If that's spicy, then that's spicy.
I got a
Works
friend.
for them.
I have a friend whose husband likes to take those challenges.
Really?
He actually
The
ordered
ghost
wings.
peppers
He ordered
and-
wings at a restaurant and like people left. It was like when they made the wings, it was.
Because the smell was so yeah. Number 8. Wear red if you want to boost your sex appeal, but most men find women who wear red sexier and more attractive than women wearing other colors. So,
Well, I'm the lingerie buyer, and my number one seller is the red Victorian lace bustier.
there it is. Number 7, the withdrawal or pull-out method is 96% effective when done right.
Wow, condoms are only
Shocking.
87.
When done right.
See, the thing
There's
is,
a lot of...
see the when done right there.
See, that's the key.
But even
Yeah.
the pre
Yeah,
ejaculate has sperm.
semen in it. Maybe the when done right is that you were removing the pre. I don't know. That
It
seems
doesn't give instructions.
weird.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
We'll have
I'm
to
going to research.
Well,
this.
I
need
wonder
some diagrams.
I wonder if that falls under family planning too. So you're like not doing it in that window.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of rules to that.
We'll look into that. Megan's our show researcher. She'll
I'm
find out.
taking notes.
Number 6, if you like somebody, exercise with them. It induces, of course,
Endorphins.
and other indicators of physiological arousal. So you have a better chance of turning it into something more if you kind of go and engage in that. That's kind of interesting.
I had a yoga
yeah,
instructor
definitely.
come up and adjust my downward dog position, and I was very uncomfortable by it. And I just was thinking at the time, is this how you work?
Number 5, orgasm is a headache cure.
Oh, yeah. Get the
That's
blood
not
flow.
always true. I hate that study now because then you use that and no one believes you, but it's not always the case.
The University of Munster
Probably not a migraine.
found that it mitigated headaches. So, and it was particularly more effective for women over men, according to this. This one's grossing me out a little bit, and maybe it's simply the picture. But number 4 is speaking to guys.
But he's had a baby.
Well, there it is. You want to meet women? Get a baby and play with it. That's what it says. And it says when in front of a baby, men who displayed caring behavior got 3 times more phone numbers from women than men who ignored the baby.
So the baby, you got a wing
So
baby.
rent a baby.
Wing baby.
Right.
Rent a baby.
Does a puppy,
Babysit.
Does a puppy work the same way?
I would think-
bet a puppy works similar for some folks.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Or
a-
kitty, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
We're almost
A
done.
Baby
It's
would
just that
make me
nurture-
run.
It's that
so-
empathy, nurturing, you want to see that behavior.
I guess that for the majority of normal people, Megan, outside of you and me, that have the maternity chip,
Right.
that would probably work for them.
Yeah.
Number 3, if you're feeling neglected, get a tongue bath. It says that men with higher self-esteem are more likely to perform oral sex on their partners than those who don't. Now, why would that have anything to do with anything?
I believe it, though.
I don't know, but thank God my guys are confident. Jeez, that would be the worst.
I totally believe it. And I think that's reversed to women who are uncomfortable, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Okay, this one is completely lost on me. Number 2. Research shows that the scent combination of pumpkin pie and lavender.
Yep.
Increases
Those are the number two.
blood flow to the penis. Lavender, I get pumpkin pie.
Well, no, apple pie, pumpkin pie. It's the cinnamon, the baked goods,
it's that caramelization of the sugars. They do study after study, and those 2 scents are always what makes men aroused.
Nothing about Thanksgiving makes me want to have sex.
I will say my Nick's favorite scent is this vanilla lavender that I've got from Bed Bath & Beyond.
Really?
Yes.
Turns his crank. The last one, number 1. This one of all we've gone over today. Okay, so this you're supposed to. Okay, I'm just going to read it. Give her some intimate kisses she won't soon forget by first sucking on an Altoid. The mint creates tingling sensations and heightened temperature sensitivity. Do we agree?
Yeah. We sell cooling lubricant. You don't need to use Altoids.
No. Okay. So that's probably
we have stuff that's better.
The Swiss Navy that we get around the holidays and the little. Do we still?
Oh, we carry the peppermint all year round.
It's all. Yep. Okay. I knew that we got it in for the holidays. I wasn't sure it had done well enough to keep it in all year round. Good.
Yeah.
It's a natural tingler.
I know it tasted really good.
My husband got some Broner's magic soap in the peppermint, and it is really fun to take a shower with that.
Cool. Well, guys, I mean, wasn't Aprille Trupiano cool?
I was, like I said, it was fascinating for me with not having a business degree to read something that I could actually understand. I mean, it had jargon that was familiar to me, and I enjoyed that.
You know what's funny about that, Colleen, though? You're an intelligent person, and even though you don't speak the lingo, you've worked in this business, you've developed it and everything else. And I think that there's a big... I mean, I know a lot of people that have advanced degrees out there that, I'm sorry, they're not that very successful, and they're not necessarily all that bright. I just don't like the labeling, when it comes to that.
It's just vocabulary.
Yeah.
I know.
And if there's nothing behind their use of vocabulary, it doesn't
they
do
might be
any good.
using this fancy vocabulary to make themselves seem smarter.
To cover up that they don't actually know what they're talking about. I've done that trick.
Yeah.
Haven't we all? That's called BS.
Yes.
And BSing for dollars. Well, thanks you guys for coming in today. We've got 2 little versions. We're going to do some little slice and dice here and put together the 2 episode 16s. Megan, the genius, I can't wait to find what she's going to put up on some of the research she's going to do. But we appreciate you guys doing the plays and the downloads, and keep checking back with the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. Have a great week, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.